I had to do a quick costume change. All right. So if the people that did the shh earlier could do it again. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. For those that were in the last awesome session with Mark, you met me. I'm Chris Monberg. I'm the CTO and head of product here at Zeta. We're going to spend a little bit of time together talking about vision, which is one of my favorite topics. So thanks for coming today. This Zeta Live is the biggest we've had yet, and I can't wait to see all of you next year. All right, so vision. A few years ago, anybody that was at the first Zeta Live would have seen us talk about making the complexities of marketing, the sophisticated marketing we all want to do, making it simple. As it turns out, data and tools get in the way of us doing our job, and we think there's an opportunity to really listen to marketers and their challenges. We had our customer advisory board meeting yesterday, and we talked about big vision items. We also talked about what we call broken windows. I probably need to talk more about it, frankly, because those are the small things that get in the way of it. But vision is more than just a big corporate tagline. It's also about this great quote from Ken Blanchard, who wrote 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. For some of you that might have read it, it is a great old book. Vision is knowing who you are, which I love. Vision has to be personal for us to get use out of it. Where you're going, and what will guide your journey. And so vision, for all of us, is our journey with work. And at Zeta, Neej mentioned earlier, we've been doing this together for quite a while. It's also become my journey and part of our company's journey. So our vision with generative AI, which we'll be talking about a lot today, started back in 2019. And I'm going to try and play this video from a clip from 2019.
Hi, I'm Zoe. How can I help you?
What new opportunities do you see?
The most engaged prospects over index for hip hop and travel.
So we're on a journey with you. We're still trying to figure this out. We're doing the best we can. The difference between Zeta and a lot of other companies is that we've been thinking about it for a long time. When Zeta bought my company, they bought it because we'd been thinking about AI and the data access patterns for AI and what marketers really wanted out of AI, how to make it more usable. And that needs to be sewn into the fabric of a platform to make AI useful later. So your journey and our journey started with predictive AI. I spoke about this a little bit in the last session. This is about optimization. Going from optimizing experiences to creating them has been opened up through generative AI. And these tools are absolutely mesmerizing, and they're also very disappointing occasionally. You know, like I haven't yelled at a computer since Clippy, like reformatted my letter to the doctor. But sometimes I find myself there. So we'll talk about how we use generative AI and how we're trying to harden it, make it more rigorous in the tools we use. This is an area that I'm really excited about. It's a promise, it's a contract. So Zeta is going to deliver the fundamentals. We have to make sure the jobs to be done, which is a product term, but like the jobs that each of you have in a platform, that those jobs are attainable. Next, we're going to layer on more intelligence, and Zeta, because of our proprietary data and identity asset, we really focus on intelligence. We think that's the differentiator to help you do your job better. But there's more. We want to help you with your personal transformation and your team transformation. We think that it's going to take a massive amount of organizational development to get from here to where we're going. During the cab yesterday, I heard it from all corners. One person spoke up and said, yeah, I feel like some of the people that have been here too long just don't get it. I got to wait for them to retire. And that's terrible. Like, we shouldn't have to wait for the blue hairs to get out of the way so that we can transform our business. And that's ultimately where I think generative AI is going to go. We want to be part of it. So we have a whole learning development team at Zeta. It actually sits inside of product and engineering. They're downstairs. They're in pink sweatshirts as well around. I hope that you go down and speak to them and learn about our AI Academy. I said this earlier, we're in early innings, but we're already at the point where we can help each of you transform the way you work with your team, the way you help your business, and your transformation as an individual. So we've discussed that we're navigating this together, and I think everybody knows this is a paradigm shift. There's a lot of uncertainty. I wanted to start with a little story. This handsome fellow right here is my father, and he was a navigator. He was an incredibly well-decorated navigator for the Air Force, and he would sit, in this picture, he's in the back of a KC-135, and he had these tools. He had a stopwatch. He had a grease pencil, and I remember these, like, I played with these all the time. He'd get so mad at me because, I'd be using them like crayons. And he had a flight computer. This was like strapped to his leg, and he'd spin it, and he'd know exactly how fast he was and where he was going. And he was a wizard with these tools all the way into the 90s. In the 90s, something really awesome came along. GPS, and I'm a pilot, and I now can just get in a plane without a navigator, and I can get my family safely from A to B, and I don't need to focus on my flight computer, although I know how to use one because my father was a good mentor. I can focus on getting there joyfully and safely. So navigators aren't what they used to be in the Air Force. Navigators today don't sit in the back of a plane and tell you exactly when to take a picture when you're traveling 1,000 miles an hour, 500 feet over the canopy. They actually do the entire mission control. So they have the same title. It's not about directing the one plane. It's about directing the entire mission. And I think that's really a good analogy for all of us. We can know where we are with technology. It does change everything. Gen AI has definitely made it easier to know where we are. We can ask questions and vector in exactly where we are. There's another story about where we are going, and this one's about Magellan. So most of you probably know Magellan went around the southern tip of the Americas, he went through Magellan Strait, and opened up a new route. Back then, they didn't have great maps, so for him to know where he was going, he actually would anchor, and he'd send out these pilot boats. And they'd row as far as they could, and sometimes they'd row up a tributary and get lost, they'd row back, and they'd wayfind. And they had this incremental progress that they'd go through. Then they'd go back to Magellan's ship, where he was sitting, surely drinking rum, and say, great, I know where to go, but we can only go 10 miles from here. Those incremental steps is very much where we're at with generative AI right now. We can get from here to 10 miles away, but generative AI is not a silver bullet. It's not going to automate our jobs away. It's just going to help with some of the wayfinding along the way. For us to make the most of it, we have to ask the right questions. And curiosity is a big part of our jobs today. We're always trying to understand what consumers are going through, and it's a huge part of the future. So, this is it. And this is a theme that you've seen around the venue today. So curiosity starts with one question, and my child that's in kindergarten, imagines all the time. So I'm going to start by talking about imagine if you could build the future. Hopefully all of you have heard about agents by now. Agents are these autonomous, you can think of them as bots in generative AI. They need to have purpose. And my show of hands, has everybody here at least played with an OpenAI maybe? Very few of you. Okay, more hands now. Yeah, all right. Nobody wants to be left out. So give it purpose. At Zeta, we have to give it context and meaning and memory and domain of knowledge. At Zeta, we also think about agents taking action because it's nice to get intelligence from them, but if it can automate some of my job, that'd be great. And then I'll talk about linking agents together, all in a secure, compliant, and governed way. This is a short video of somebody building an agent. It's simple. You name it. This is the platform. You can go get a demo of it later. We've got a bunch of LLMs it sits on, including our own. You give it some instructions. This one's building a segmented audience. You give it access to data, and this is some of the domain intelligence and context it needs, and then you can even create an action. Next, I want to talk about linking these agents together. So it's nice. I'll use an example. I'm cooking a meal. I can ask for what goes in my patsu I'm cooking, but what's the next step? You have to go grocery shopping. I don't know, then you have to cook it. Each agent needs to have some constrained guidance. And then you get an output out of it. So here is linking agents together. And I think Roman built this for me in the platform. This identifies an audience. The next thing it does is ask for a media plan. So it's strategy. It's really important. Thing after that is it asks for some budget guidelines, like where do I actually put the money? Is it in CTV? Is it in programmatic? And then the last thing that it does is it looks at optimization strategies. What should I be watching for? How do I optimize my media plan? So this is an example of how you are linking tasks together to do them automatically. I'll get into action in a minute, but before I do, I want to talk about personalizing these workflows. So with each question that's unique, you should have a different output. And so in this example, I think he's asking for a campaign for sneakerheads. So back to school sneaker sale campaign. Once this runs, which is generating right now, it'll come back with answers to each one of those questions. So this personalized the link to agents I showed you easier, so that as you're going through each campaign, you have different people on your team that you want to collaborate with, they can benefit from the investment that you've made in the foundation or the fabric of experiences you want to build. And here's an example of copy output. So I said I was going to show you action as well. I'm going to show you another example here. Because I wanted to talk about data today. CIOs have a really hard challenge. They're trying to centralize data, but it tends to be distributed still, and that's challenging for them. We want to talk about federated queries, getting data from all these different places, and one of their first jobs is, frankly, migration from one platform to another, so this is a great use case. Here, Aaron built this video. He's downstairs. It's an onboarding agent he just picked from the agent library. This onboarding agent, he's going to drop a file into it to help it learn, like map data from one source to another. And I won't even ask for a show of hands. I'm certain that every marketer has had challenges getting data from one system into another. As soon as he drops that in, it'll preview it. And it mapped the data automatically. This is a process when you do it manually. It takes weeks. That's insane. You go from weeks to seconds. From mapping it, it'll actually go in and create a whole data flow for you. So at Zeta, we have data flows. Those data flows will do ETL, if you're familiar with that term. It'll help reshape and format your data so that it can come into the system. And this is linking into one of the data flows. So again, I am confident this takes weeks to months to do because there's a lot of back and forth. Even getting access to databases is like emails instead of just entering in credentials in a platform. We want to simplify the complexities of marketing. All right, so next I'm going to move into prediction of the future. In order to predict, you need to understand who they are. We think of customers and prospects as humans, and they are humans in our data graph, in our identity graph. Neej will talk about this as well. In the platform, you have unique identifiers. You also have channel identifiers, which are different, and those branch out. You have known attributes, how it's known to Zeta. And lastly, you have addressable channels. These are all part of an identity graph, and you can't mix them up. You have to be very specific about what channels you have permission to market to, how it's being enriched by Zeta. Once you know an individual, then the magic happens. This is an example of generative AI in line. It's in context of our Audience Explorer. And here he asked to target East Coast sneakerheads. You'll notice this doesn't look like SQL. It's not. Sneakerheads isn't a term in our taxonomy, but generative AI can memorize our entire taxonomy for you. We have thousands of terms in our taxonomy, in our enriched data. There's no way anybody in this room can become an expert in it. And frankly, it's caused pain for people. How do they know where to look? So it goes through, it builds it, and it will even go through and forecast the outcomes so that you can start building trust. So Insight Studio is something releasing now. For those of you that were at the Customer Advisory Board, we talked about it a lot. And I think Insights is still one of the biggest challenges for marketers, which is shocking for me. Here's another example, looking at a campaign that's already running. So this campaign, it's a media campaign that's been running. And you can ask questions like, what channels are driving my campaign performance? You can ask other questions like, what segments are driving this performance? These queries for most traders or most people that are working in media, they have to log into like 10 different databases and join the data together. And that takes days, weeks. I even talk to marketers that say, oh yeah, I can only get that report once a month, because they've got data engineers and data scientists that are working on it together. All right, so going from predicting to personalizing. So we talked a lot about individualization and optimization. This is something I'm pretty passionate about, and we're not here as an industry. Almost every company I talk to still has a channel-centric strategy. They've got teams. I say, what about understanding your customer? They're like, well, programmatic has an understanding, and SMS has an understanding, but they don't really understand their customer. I want to talk a little bit about how we think about building experiences. So this is create an abandoned cart experience. There's a bunch of details in it. And it says, great, you want me to do it? Done. And in 5 seconds, it's created an entire experience with people known to the brand, known to Zeta, and unknown. And it creates all the touches. There's still more work to do here. But this is where you should spend your time, refining these things, being generative, not creating some structure, some rubric for individuals to fit in. Technology will do good at that, will do well at that. What we get to do as marketers is thinking about how we can personalize inside of those channels. Another example is content creation. So probably most people have at least seen like an editor before where they're creating content. This is an example of our visual composer. It's being demoed downstairs right now. Create an email for my fall hockey sale. It's on brand. It has my brand guidelines, it has my fonts, it has my spacing. Zoe will go through and build creative for you. The big deal here for me is that yes, it's nice to use and it does all the things you might need to do, like adjust your padding or change the font or change the color. You can even tell it to change the color, like change it to green, and it will change it to your brand's color of green. But more importantly, it gets extended across channels automatically. And you can continue to nudge this because automating that doesn't work unless you continue to refine things. Being able to go from email to display to social to mobile push by clicking add allows us to get to the point where we're refining much, much sooner. So next, I am really excited about this, this part of the presentation. Mobile. Mobile's been around for a long time. It tends to be lost in big enterprises and overvalued in small enterprises. Mobile needs to be intelligent. It can't just be a channel. So today we're introducing intelligent mobile, and we'll talk about how we got here. So mobile is almost always a disconnected point solution. They buy one vendor, they have one team that's thinking about it. Second, it's an identity silo. Like it's completely lost to everybody else in the organization. And third, there is no intelligence. You're just blasting out a campaign. It becomes a dumb channel. And as consumers, we've had enough. Like I get so much dumb mail in my inbox and dumb text messages I didn't ask for and dumb emails that Gmail can't even keep up with putting into the spam. So the way we solve that is natively integrated omni-orchestration, enrichment and extension of identity, and last, integrated intelligence. And I'll show you an example of this. And again, you can talk with Jordan downstairs. He built this demo for me. This is a question about how are my mobile app KPIs looking? Starting with intelligence is a good way to start thinking about refining intelligence. The next question he asks is, how can I improve sessions per user? And it's like, great, no problem. Anything with limited time offer will help you optimize for that KPI. Sometimes we have to optimize for KPIs. Our bosses ask us to get more mobile installs, as an example. So here it asks to create an entire triggered campaign, much like the last one. What I want to show you is in the experience draft is the actual UI for the mobile. So here's another experience like I showed you earlier. Here are a couple different mobile offers, but it doesn't forget email because it's not a disconnected experience. You can go in and see all the mobile channels that we have in our platform, including mobile advertising and the Ken Burns effect. You can also go in and edit your content and create it. Again, this is one fabric of experiences. It should be one team that's not thinking about mobile as a channel, but it's thinking about the outcomes they want for their business and the experiences their consumer should be going through. All right, so this is where we were. We had launched mobile in Q3. We've got a lot of customers already on the platform, very happy, successful, and providing feedback to us. As of today, we are launching Intelligent Mobile Solution, driven by Zoe with all of the same data fabric and identity fabric I've been talking about today. Next, we're moving into this idea of a conversational CDP. Now, conversational CDP needs some explanation. Most companies are trying to centralize their data. Data is locked up in there, though. Probably not many of you are accessing your data warehouse on the regular to get real-time marketing data because a lot of the data sits outside of that data warehouse still. And I am all for centralized data, and I think data warehouses are a critical part of any strategy. But we have to admit that even when we do our best to get data into our data warehouse, there are going to be other services, whether it's UPS that has the most up-to-date shipment data that you need access to. This oftentimes gets fronted by a CDP, but the CDP has even less data than the data warehouse does, and it certainly doesn't have access to all of this. Where we're going with this is that you can pull out your mobile phone and ask questions of the CDP, and it will look to these other services, and it will be able to parse the data it needs from where it resides, which is very critical in modern marketing and the way complexity has boomed in our business. You can continue to ask questions like, where's my return? And then say, well, where's my next order? All through the same UI. not different APIs, not different software. I was talking with somebody last Zeta Live, who's might be in the room today, and they said, yeah, my salespeople, they need answers from the CDP, but they also need it from a shipping company, so they have to go log into 5 different platforms to get the order ID, then the shipping ID somewhere else, then the status of where the shipment is, and then see if it overlaps with the return they have. It would be great if we could simplify this. And this is where we're going in 2025. We want to, again, simplify the complexities of sophisticated marketing. All right. So, and it even layered on loyalty there at the end. So I'll leave you with this. Imagine where Magellan would have gone with GPS, and imagine how your journey will transform with generative AI. From navigators to explorers, from executors to thought leaders, to transformational leaders in your organization. I'm certain that we are all on this journey together. Your curiosity, how you push us, even downstairs today in the demo booth, is going to help us arrive where we need to be together. And when I talk about our shared vision, I am deeply passionate about working on this with all the people in the room, because this is new territory. It's an opportunity for us to invent the future. Speaking of inventing the future, imagine if intelligence was the map to your future. There's a very important guest here, my very good friend and esteemed colleague, Neej Gore, who will tell you next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Neej Gore, Zeta's Chief Data Officer. And as Chris has very astutely pointed out, we are in a time of immense change. Things are changing all around us. If you're not evolving this year, you're going to be left behind. So what do we do about it? In 25 years of my career, I have seen everything from broadband internet come into fruition to 5G, and you can see some of the disruptive technologies in between. But what's about to happen in the next 5 years with artificial general intelligence is going to blow all of those away. So you and us, our customers and our employees, have this amazing opportunity to invent the future of marketing together. This is where we are today in 2024. In the next 5 years, the cost of compute is going to come down by 50 to 90%. And the AGI capabilities, the capabilities that get unlocked by your vendors and your systems, are going to go up by 300 to 500%. So as Abe Lincoln said, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. How do we do that together? I'll take you back. This is the Friendship 7 space capsule. In 1962, the mission was to put the first American into orbit in space. Friendship 7 brought together 2 incredibly powerful forces. One was John Glenn, aviator, pilot, and the other was Katherine Johnson, intelligence, mathematician. In our world, the analogy is that John Glenn's the navigator, Katherine Johnson was the map, and he said, if she says they're good, we're good to go about the calculations, and this was a successful mission. For us, agents are our navigators, and we have this very disruptive capability within Zeta where we provide intelligence to you, and that's the map. So bringing these 2 pieces together is a value proposition in the sense that we're one of one to be able to provide this across MarTech and the ad tech stack. The purpose of bringing these together and the way that you evolve in the next 5 years is that you need to think about reducing the distance between data and action. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. You want to reduce the distance to create easier, better, and faster solutions with your customers and better touch points. And the way we think about that at Zeta is around 3 different vectors. And you heard about me talk about this on the panel earlier. One is agents for productivity, paired with intelligence. The second is agents for personalization, paired with intelligence. And the third is agents for prescience, paired with intelligence. It's the idea of bringing agents together with intelligence that is the unlock for the future, and we can build that together. So I'm going to take you into a few of the things that we're launching, and some of them are still in beta, but they're very exciting. So what if you could get instant gratification when analyzing complex data sets? This is the customer pulse, and if many of you have seen, we have a nice Generate Insights button right here, and you can generate key recommendations with one click of a button. So if you want an insight and a recommendation, you don't want to have to go through the data visualization. You can just easily click on that and see exactly what comes up. Many of you have played with that. What if you get gratification to find your next best customers? We've launched Audience Copilot into the platform. As you can see here, for one of my favorite furniture companies, we're bringing up Data Cloud audiences. And in just a few seconds here, you're going to take all of those audiences that Zeta provided to you, and you're going to move them into an activation framework. And we'll see exactly how many addressable people there are in the US for this furniture company. There are going to be 54,839 customers eligible for this promotion. So Data Cloud Audiences Intelligence is a great example of bringing agents together with intelligence to create something better. What if you could pinpoint store locations that hid massively untapped potential? We're very excited to launch the most recent version of Location Intelligence, where you can look at customer segments and prospect segments, and really you want to focus on the dots that are large and they're more blue. These are pockets of opportunity for you as a retailer to go after and to really refine your marketing into. And all of this will be conversational as well soon, so you can launch a campaign directly through Zoe. What if you could bring joy to your CIO? The idea here is to unify with Snowflake, and we've co-developed a product with them. And this is called the Zeta Media Engine. And it allows you to take Zeta data, your data, and maybe a third party's data through a clean room environment and launch that into the market for media programs. You don't need a complicated onboarding. You don't need to have a crosswalk or a data sync in place. You can very simply use this tool that we've co-developed with Snowflake. Maybe you're a Snowflake customer already and you're interested in Zeta. This is a great way to check us out and to start testing our media capabilities. What if there was an easy button for ID resolution? For those of you who use our systems and our pixels, you can see in August something really massive happened. We actually improved the infrastructure of the pixel network, and now we can recognize upwards of 70% of anonymous data and resolve that back to actual customers. This is an actual graph for an actual customer. The dark blue is what's known to the customer, the light blue is what's known to Zeta, and the red is what's unknown. This is, again, visits to a website, and you can see the massive improvement we made just in the last few months. What if your marketing solution had a PhD in your vertical? We are super excited to launch vertical clouds. We're starting with CPG, commerce, and healthcare. These are extensions of the data cloud where we partner and we actually bring the data into our identity graph and the signals into our identity graph to create something unique. So here's an example for Body Armor versus Gatorade, and I can easily click in and figure out who the purchasers are, why they're purchasing, what they're purchasing, where. I can model customers just like these. It's all within the reach of you, and then again, you can activate against any of these segments that you're building into the system. Commerce Cloud. What if a credit card swipe could turn into a known person, and then you could retarget them in digital channels? This is so powerful. This is for New York right now, the zip code that we're currently in, and we can show you exactly the stores where we're seeing swipes, and these are audiences that can be modeled back into people that you can target for your brand. Taking unknown folks in your stores and then creating audiences directly around them. Commerce Cloud is very exciting and coming soon. Healthcare Cloud. We've partnered with Definitive Health, which is a leading healthcare company, to integrate our graph with theirs and bring healthcare data around patients and around healthcare providers directly into the system. This supports challenging use cases around prescriptions, around Lyft, around medical conditions. It's entirely privacy safe and secure. So if you are in the healthcare industry, I recommend checking out the demo in the demo stage on the lower level. What if you could read the tea leaves of success that led to a conversion? We are incredibly excited to announce leading indicators. When you have a conversion event, and in this case it's a purchase of a couch, many things happened leading up to that event. We're going to give you the ability to look back, almost like a time machine, and see what are the key steps that those customers took before they actually converted in store. It's a very exciting feature that we're releasing. What if you could visualize and chat with your most valuable marketing personas? Last year, we launched generative personas. So we gave you an easy way to cluster your customers together and really describe them in a visual way. This was an early application of generative AI. Now, if you want, you can actually talk to those personas and ask them questions. Which subject line would resonate the best with you? Which creative would resonate the best with you? The ability to be able to talk to your key personas and see more insights with them and communicate with them will give you a clear purview on your marketing opportunity, and that's built directly into generative personas. What if you could leverage personality to be more personal? We have launched psychographics directly in the platform. It's called Persona Pulse. And you can actually select any brands that you want to compare yourself to, and you can see the psychographic differences between your brand and the other ones. And staying on the furniture tip here, we're selecting a couple brands, Ashley, IKEA, La-Z-Boy, and Wayfair, and you can actually see how those are different. You can activate against different persona segments. So you have the ability to pick persona segments that you want to activate against, and then change the message tone and copy that you would use for them based on the data that Zeta is providing. And this, again, is going to be enabled conversationally in an upcoming release. So as we think about inventing the future together, the key here is really to let you do the middle. Help your teams embrace the idea of data-driven marketing, and in this case, AI-driven marketing. We want to help you do all of that with the first, let you focus on customer-centric mindsets, investing in your education through our L&D programs, enabling collaboration with our AI experts, and reducing the burden because having us focus on the ethical concerns around AI. We have a big group that's focused on that internally. So our roadmap really focuses on this key idea. We want to reduce the distance between data and action by bringing agents and intelligence together. This is the focus of our roadmap. A few things that are coming. First and foremost, you're going to have an entirely new way of accessing Opportunity Explorer. It's going to be conversational. The way you can navigate to insights is going to change dramatically. This Generate Insights button that you saw in Customer Pulse, this is going to be available throughout the platform. We're actually making that broadly available, and we're working on launching more vertical clouds. Now, one thing we're really excited about, and for those of you who have seen the ZEI, the Zeta Economic Index, and maybe you asked the question, why did Zeta develop an economic index? We're actually getting into the world of business intelligence. So this is the Executive Intelligence Hub. It essentially gives an executive team a scorecard across multiple dimensions, industry, competitive, brand, customer, and campaign, and tells you how you're doing. It monitors your health on the internet, and it gives you recommendations on how you could actually improve those programs. And again, this is launching very soon. We're testing with our first customers today. So the idea here is that intelligence paired with agents give you something greater. They give you the ability to compete, and we're so excited to launch this marketing future with you. So let's get started. Thank you very much.
Stand by, please. Coming up in 10 minutes will be Cookies Are Here to Stay, What It Means for Marketers in 10 minutes. Thank you.